places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Keep that frequency clear.
And now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute. That powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
You're watching The Truth is Viral, the only news program on the internet trusted to deliver the truth since 2008. And now, here's your host, Mr. Bobby Powell.
Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell, and it's Wednesday night right here on the Liberty One Network. Welcome to the show. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about that bat crap crazy lady that's accused Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of attempted rape, basically. And this whole thing stinks, folks. And tonight, me and my co-host Orion are going to delve into this subject a little bit. And isn't he so cute? He's my little baby. Yeah, he's my little baby. He likes to sit up here and keep his daddy company while I do the show. And I couldn't be happier. He's my little boy. So yeah, I was reminded of how much this whole thing stinks last night when I had a visitor outside my house. Isn't he the biggest skunk you've ever seen, folks? Look at that. I flipped the light on and went out to see what the noise was that I was hearing, and I didn't see him because he hid there underneath the deck. And he's a smart little cuss. He knows I'm out there looking for him. He knows if he's hiding and tries to stay quiet, I'm not going to get him. I'm like, okay, what's making that sound outside my window? Next time I didn't play, though. I didn't turn on the light. I came out with my AR-15 with the flashlight attached to the end of it and my laser sight. Oh my gosh, and I saw him right there. He sticks up his tail. Look at that. He almost got me. Okay, now I'm kind of scared to move at this point. I don't particularly want to get skunked, right? So I just kind of light the stairway and say, okay, little buddy, off you go. You need to get out of here. I'm afraid to shoot him. I don't want his last death throw action to be a spray in my direction. And he's pretty inoffensive anyway. I didn't want to shoot him. I just wanted him off of my deck and away from my house and away from my cats. I might have to get a live trapper out to come get him. But I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm prepared for any threat that comes my way. So yeah, this whole story stinks from this Christine Blasey-Ford. 36 years after this alleged incident happens, she comes forward with this allegation after the hearings are over. And she's trying to stop his confirmation. Well, I've uncovered proof that she's a liberal lunatic. As a matter of fact, live on Monday night's show, I caught Rate Your Prof. It's supposed to be an independent website where you can rate your professor. I caught them live, deleting comments about her that were less than complimentary, let's say. So let's go back to Monday night and check that out. This is wild. After she came out and made these accusations, Miss Ford went around to scrub all of her social media. She deleted her Facebook. She deleted her Twitter. And she knew what was coming. She knew that people would be looking over her timelines to see what she thought. So she tried to get rid of the evidence. And I'm pretty sure that the internet is forever. So let's look for the next couple of days to see a bunch of deranged tweets and posts from Facebook that are being kept by the Wayback Machine. The Internet Archive Machine. But there's one place that she couldn't delete because the site's not hers. It's called Rate My Professors. This is great. Okay, this rating for her work as a college instructor was published back in 2014. So nobody can say, well, it came up after the Kavanaugh thing blew up. Said, many dislike Professor Ford due to her dark personality, matter-of-factness, and high expectations. You want real-life feedback that doesn't come wrapped in a bow? Experience her. If you would like feedback and grading on a silver platter, avoid her. She's tough, but there's a method to her madness. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. They have deleted, Rate My Professors has deleted a lot of the tweets that said that she was a psychopath, that you should avoid her classes. But hold on a second, because I archived the page before it was changed. Let's see what it looks like earlier. Rating under review. Rating under review. Okay, yeah. Here's one of the ones that Rate My Professors deleted from 2014. Christine Ford is the worst educator I have ever experienced. Avoid taking her class and avoid any interaction with this person. I feel she has something wrong with her, and I'm surprised no one has caught this. Also, avoid Fullerton's MSW program as long as she is there. Here's another one that Rate My Professors deleted from 2014. Professor Ford is unprofessional, lacks appropriate filters, and I am honestly scared of her. She's made comments both in class and in emails. If you cross her, you will be on her bad side. I fear to think of the poor clients that had to deal with her while she got her MSW and her LCSW. Absolutely the worst teacher I've ever had. Do not take her class. She is unclear with directions, hard grader, and talks for 2 hours, 45 minutes without giving a break. She is the exact opposite of what she teaches. Empowering? Not at all. And this one from 2010. Take her class and you will take antidepressant, start smoking or drinking again, and gain 20 pounds at your risk. My gosh, folks. Rate My Professors tried to delete all of the negative posts about Christine Ford. Thank the Lord that I had the foresight to save that page before they did that. That is just unconscionable. This woman is a menace. It's true. She's a menace, she's a liar, and the left is helping her hide her past. And we're going to delve into it in depth in 60 seconds. Do not click away.
I'm Pete Santilli, and you're watching The Truth is Viral.
Do not click away. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Whether we like it or not, radical Islamists are bringing the fight to us, right here in the United States. As Americans, we have the right and the duty to protect our friends and our family from Islamic terrorism. We don't negotiate with terrorists, we just kill them. Real Americans, the young, the old, men, women, even the Amish, stand ready to protect the American homeland from Islamic terrorism. And more, they're turning to the most terrifying force multiplier that the world has ever seen. It's called silver bullet gun oil. This is made from 13% pig fat, and it is guaranteed to send an Islamic terrorist straight to hell. In 1902, Black Jack Pershing, famous U.S. Army general, realized the effectiveness of this psychological weapon on Islamic terrorism. He rounded up 50 Islamic terrorists, and he tied 49 of them to stakes. And as they stood there awaiting their death, he brought in a few pigs and put them slaughtered them in a pit in front of these hostages. Boy, they were terrified, and then they got shot, every single one of them. They were buried in the pit and covered with the pig's entrails. The 50th terrorist was let go so that he could go tell the rest of his buddies what he'd seen. And for the next 42 years, there was not a single incident of Islamic terrorism anywhere in the world. That is how effective this weapon is. Since 2004, silver bullet gun oil has been used by members of the United States Marine Infantry, Marine Recon, U.S. Marine Scout Snipers, Navy SEALs, regular Army, Army Rangers, Green Berets, Reserve, and National Guard units deployed or being deployed to the Middle East theater of operations. Silver bullet gun oil is used by M1 Abrams tank platoons. Apache and Cobra gunships use silver bullet in their miniguns. Many of Allah's holy warriors have been greatly disappointed upon realizing that they did not pass go and they did not collect 72 virgins. A number of air marshals use silver bullet gun oil in their in-flight weaponry. It's been distributed to members of police tactical teams throughout the United States from coast to coast, including members of my local law enforcement community. Oh yeah, buddy. I count on them to protect me from these Islamic terrorists. I can't keep my head on a swivel 24 hours a day. So, yeah, they're the first ones that I gave a bottle of silver bullet gun oil to. The psychological impact of silver bullet gun oil might very well prevent many attacks on American citizens in the U.S. Islamic terrorists don't care about dying, folks. In fact, they welcome the idea. So we have to take that incentive away from them by guaranteeing them an afterlife in hell.
Yes, folks, silver bullet gun oil is actually a very good product. I use it myself. And what amazed me is that last year, we have a hunting camp every year. And a bunch of us get together and go out there and shoot guns, blow stuff up. We have a real good time. Of course, we use tannerite. It's legal. Okay. But when everybody else's gun was jamming, because it was -2 degrees below zero, my silver bullet gun oil worked fine. To order your bottle of silver bullet gun oil, send a check or money order for $24.95 to Post Office Box 91, Alpena, Michigan 49707. Or you can use a credit card at www.paypalme/thetruthisviral. In the last few days since she's been named as Kavanaugh's accuser, Christine Blasey-Ford has been exposed as a member of the anti-Trump so-called resistance. Okay, there have been pictures posted of her wearing a pussy hat at an anti-Trump march, and this photograph here of her carrying a sign that says "Not my president." Well, I'm sorry to tell you, sweet pea, but he is your president. You're just going to have to get used to it and get over this Trump derangement syndrome thing you got going on, you and everybody else that's over there on the liberal lunatic side of the aisle. But I guess the best way to expose this woman is through the holes in her own story. And her lawyer, Deborah Katz, was on CNN the other day when she was still planning to testify before Congress. At least that was the promise. She's changed her mind. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's go through these lies here real quick. This is Deborah Katz on CNN.
Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination, but that timing is now in question. On Sunday afternoon, a woman named Christine Blasey-Ford went public, alleging that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her while both were high school students. Judge Kavanaugh has denied these allegations. So joining us now is Deborah Katz. She is the lawyer representing Christine Blasey-Ford. Ms. Katz, thank you very much for being here. Let's get to a question that is at the top of everyone's mind, which is, will your client, Christine Ford, be willing to testify in public to the Judiciary Committee?
The answer is yes.
She is willing to do it. Has she been asked by any of the lawmakers to do that?
That's interesting. The answer is no.
She's not been asked, but she is now willing to do so. Is she in conversations with people? Have the lawmakers reached out and tried to talk to her via phone?
We've heard from no one. We've seen various statements made on television, but and statements that are being bandied about for political reason, but no one's asked her.
Okay, folks, that is just an absolute lie, because we've seen Charles Grassley, Republican senator, on television numerous times, inviting her to testify in either a public or a private setting. They've also offered to send people to go to interview her at her home, and she has denied. She's insisting that a lengthy FBI investigation be conducted before she does that. So that was a lie, and this woman knew it was a lie. And we're going to go into her background too. This lawyer, this Deborah Katz, she's a real scumbag. And but let's look at some more of this, because it's great. I'm just going to tear these people apart tonight.
No.
How did she come around to being willing to testify publicly? Because as we know the story, she really did not want to come forward. She wrote a confidential letter. So tell me the trajectory of her willingness now to go to such a public forum.
Well, you're right. There was a great deal of ambivalence and about whether she wanted to be publicly associated with these allegations. And essentially, that choice was made by her to remain confidential. She asked Senator Feinstein to keep her letter and her allegations confidential, and Feinstein agreed to do that. And that decision was essentially taken away from her as those allegations were leaked.
And who were they leaked by? This letter was sent to Dianne Feinstein. Okay? Who leaked them? It wasn't the Republicans. Had to have been somebody in Dianne Feinstein's office. So if anybody put her in the position that she's in now, it's the Democrats.
And it resulted in a great deal of pressure from members of the media who knew who she was, who then started really invading her privacy, showing up at Stanford where she teaches, and leaving her notes and emailing her and calling her. And she knew that she was going to be, her allegations were going to be outed. And that, in fact, is what occurred. And as a result, she decided to take control of this and tell this in her own voice.
So while we have you, perhaps you can help us fill in the blanks on some of her story.
Fill in those blanks.
She says that she was at a party in probably 1982 in Montgomery
Probably
County,
1982? Hold on a second. Wait, what? Probably 1982? Give me a break. She doesn't even know what year this happened. Allegedly. Probably 1982? What town was she in? She doesn't even remember that. How can this woman expect to remain anonymous when she's coming forward with an allegation that's going to stop the confirmation of a justice of the Supreme Court of the United States? You can't do that. I mean, it just defies all logic that you could make an anonymous allegation and stop a process like that. Well, hold on. How about this? When I was a DJ 30 years ago, I was in a bar, and Beto O'Rourke came up and grabbed me by the booty. That ought to stop his run for the Senate seat in Texas, shouldn't it? No, it's not. It won't do that. These people, they're not only hypocrites, they're two-faced. They make me sick.
High school students, as was she. There were 4 guys there. Were there any girls there that day?
Yes, there was another girl at this party, yes.
And has your client spoken to any of those other guys or that girl who could help corroborate her story?
She has not.
And
Oh,
why
no?
not? Is it time to do that?
That's not her job to do that. If this is going to be investigated, it should be done by investigators.
So she
excuse
also says
me,
that
it absolutely is her job to do that. If you make an accusation like that, you'd better be prepared to back it up. They want this FBI investigation to stall the nomination and the confirmation of Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. That's all they want to do. They just want to stall it because they believe that he's going to try to reverse Roe versus Wade. And although he said that's settled law and that he has no intention of doing that, they don't care. They matter of fact, remember they said that no matter who it was that that President Trump appointed, they would oppose the nominee. So let's hear some more lies.
that this happened. Well, let me just read to you what she says happened because I want to be able to say it in her own words. She says, Kavanaugh was on top of me while laughing with, and there was a redacted name, who we now know was Mark Judge, his friend, who periodically jumped on Kavanaugh. They both laughed as Kavanaugh tried to disrobe me in their highly inebriated state. With Kavanaugh's hand over my mouth, I feared he may inadvertently kill me.
Hold on.
It took her a while
Whoa,
to use
wait
the
a minute.
term attempted rape.
He
It
might
took her years to.
He might inadvertently kill me. Now, I can understand a statement like, I thought he was going to kill me. But to give the guy that's allegedly raping you the benefit of the doubt, he might rape me, but I think he might accidentally kill me. Come on, give me a break.
Use that. But she stands by this account that I've just read?
She does. And just to be clear, the reason she felt that he might inadvertently kill her is he had his hand over her mouth and she was having a difficult time breathing. And he is larger and he was pressing his weight against her. And so inebriated, he was ignoring the fact that she was attempting to scream and having a difficult time breathing. And she believes that but for his inebriation and his inability to take her clothes off, he would have raped her.
Here's what Brett Kavanaugh says. He's released a statement. I categorically and unequivocally deny this allegation. I did not do this back in high school or at any time. So where does that leave your client?
That leaves her knowing that she's told the truth. She's done it at great personal risk. She's now going to have to live with the tremendous efforts by people to annihilate her and to try to discredit her. She's telling the truth. She took a polygraph. She mentioned this to her in her therapy sessions in 2012. She came forward before this nominee was nominated. This is someone who has told the truth at great personal cost, and we all know what she's going to have to withstand as a result of having come forward.
Honey, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. They think that there's no consequences to their actions, folks. They think that they can say anything they want, they can do anything they want, they can malign people, they can try to destroy a good man's reputation by making an anonymous accusation. And then, now that my identity's been compromised, they're trying to kill me. Let me tell you something about Republicans. See, now, I'm a conservative. Except for Ron Paul and little guy, Ross Perot. I've always voted for a Republican candidate. But I consider myself a conservative libertarian, politically. And in reality, I'm a monarchist who's waiting on my coming king. But politically, I'm a conservative. But so, as a libertarian, I get flack from both sides of the aisle, from Republicans and from Democrats both.
But I have never, ever had a Republican threaten to murder me, gang rape my wife, burn my children to death in their sleep. That's all come from Democrats or progressives or liberals or communists, whatever you want to call them. Every bit of it. They're sick. The more liberal you are, the more towards communism and statism that you are, the sicker you are. Trump derangement syndrome or Trump anxiety disorder, whatever they're calling it these days, is real. And it sometimes has physical expressions like these bug-eyed people. Sandra, or what's her name? Ocasio-Cortez and Adam Schiff and this broad here, Deborah Katz. They're like deer in the headlights, somebody said in the Liberty One chat room, and it's true. They've all got these bug-eyed things going on. I'm like, they couldn't tell the truth if it hit them upside the head, and if they do know what's going on, they just lie about it. And you can see it on their faces. They're some of the ugliest people. You've seen the pictures of John McCain with his scowl, right? And John Brennan with his scowl. They're just ugly people, and you can see it on their faces. You can see their soul, their black soul and their black heart. You can see it expressed on their faces. But yeah, enough of that. Let's continue on with this.
Let's talk about that polygraph. As we understand it, she did it at your behest. You suggested that she do it, knowing that her veracity would be challenged. Would you be willing to release the results of that polygraph?
I will, to the appropriate authorities who wish to see it, yes.
And who would those appropriate authorities be?
Well, at this point, it's the Senate Judiciary Committee that has a constitutional obligation to vet this nominee.
I think that Senator...
Okay, well, let me tell you something about polygraphs, folks. Yeah, as a Marine, I had some specialized training. It wasn't all combat related. And one bit of training that I had was how to beat a polygraph. It's easy to do. That's one simple method is to put a thumbtack in your shoe. Okay? it skews the results. And that's why polygraphs are not admissible in a court of law. Because they're fallible. They're flawed. So even if she did take a polygraph test, I'm not going to trust the results of it. Because she can lie. And sociopaths can lie just as easy as water tumbling over rocks. And it doesn't bother them a bit, so their physiological responses are not going to show up on a polygraph.
Feinstein was saying something to the effect of the FBI should be looking into that. Is that happening?
I don't know what's happening at this point. That will be discussions that I'm sure we'll be having later today.
Once your client saw Brett Kavanaugh be nominated, when she saw him up there with his beautiful family and people recommending him and the glossy PR campaigns for him and what a stellar record he has and all of these other women who have known him for years who have come forward to recommend his character, did that give her pause? Did that change her calculation?
She's somebody who's a very thoughtful person, and she, throughout this process, was really weighing her civic duty, which is really something that she takes quite seriously, versus the personal cost that she would certainly have to incur if she came forward. And she...
Bull. Anybody that's concerned with their civic duty, if they have an accusation to make, they stand up and make it. Under their own name, under their own face. I've never in my life posted anything anonymously on the internet. I've always used my real name. Because I'm not ashamed of anything that I say. Have I made mistakes before? Sure. But like a grown-up, like a man, I've owned up to them and apologized for making the mistake. Because people make mistakes. But the thing that sets us apart from liberals is that we take responsibility when we make a mistake. We don't try to find somebody else to blame. But liberals don't have any problem with it.
Really really struggled with that, and I think as anyone would. And as the hearings got closer, she continued to weigh that and saw that essentially this nominee was being rushed through, documents were being withheld, and she really made the calculation that no one would really listen to her.
Excuse me, but more documents have been produced on Brett Kavanaugh than the previous 5 Supreme Court nominees combined. Okay, Deborah, you can keep lying now.
The Republican Party was determined to get this nominee through, and at that point she just felt that coming forward would be hopeless and she would put her family and herself at great personal risk, and chose not to. Unfortunately, that decision was taken from her.
By the Democrats.
This confidential letter went public, and you say that then reporters were on the scent of it. Did your client, Christine Ford, ever have a conversation with Senator Feinstein?
We were in touch with her office throughout this period, yes.
Meaning that
since
there was
July.
a conversation between your client and the senator?
She spoke to the senator very soon after the letter was sent, which was July 30th. At that point, Dr. Blasey retained counsel, and then communications went between staff and Dr. Blasey's counsel.
Yeah, it's a good idea that she retained counsel because she's going to need it. I hope Brett Kavanaugh sues her for defamation of character. He probably won't, though, because he's a good guy, and in the long run, none of this is gonna make any difference. But yeah, she's a liar and just a really rotten person. But please, Deborah, continue to lie.
Because the question is, why did Senator Feinstein sit on the letter? Or is that your impression? Well, I guess my question is, what was the point? What was Senator Feinstein supposed to do with this letter?
Okay, I just want to be clear. I think that's an unfair characterization. In this moment, victims need to be able to control when and whether their stories become public.
It's not an unfair characterization. Dianne Feinstein got the letter on July 30th. She met with Brett Kavanaugh. So did other Democratic senators. She didn't bring up this letter then. She didn't bring it up during the hearings. Only when the hearings were over and it was nearly a done deal that Brett Kavanaugh would be confirmed to the Supreme Court did this stuff come out. And it's just another last minute smear campaign, just like they did with Judge Roy Moore, and can't let them get away with it this time, folks.
She went to her senator because she had information that she thought was very important that had bearing on the fitness and character of this nominee. And throughout that period of time, Senator Feinstein's office was eager for her to come forward. If she felt comfortable coming forward, there was no effort to dissuade her from coming forward. This was entirely this woman's decision. And I think that was appropriate. I think that's how victims of trauma and sexual violence must be treated.
And so was that letter shared with the committee?
Apparently at a later point it was.
At a later point?
Yeah, after the hearing was over.
Before the hearing?
No.
No.
It was not shared. And honestly, we made the request. My client made the request that Senator Feinstein treat her allegations confidentially, and Senator Feinstein agreed to do so. I will say that the door was always open, and the staff made it clear that if she changed her mind, she could come forward. As Dr. Blasey saw these hearings unfold, her choice became more clear in her mind that she did not want to come forward. She saw this as a very highly politicized and very brutal process, and she was not wanting to inject herself in this because...
So if she made it clear that she was not willing to come forward, why did Dianne Feinstein or somebody on her staff leak this letter to the press so that her name was known and reporters knew where to go find her at her work and at her home? Why did they do that? Why did they do that to this poor lady? Because it's all a scam. That's why every word out of this woman's mouth is a lie. This is great. I'm having a blast. How about you guys?
Incur this kind of really highly politicized attack game that she now finds herself in. So she was fine with that decision, but that decision was taken away from her after the hearings when her allegations were essentially leaked.
Understood. So does what
by
does
the
Dr.
Democrats?
Does Dr. Blasey want Brett Kavanaugh to sit on the Supreme Court, or for his approval, his confirmation to be blocked?
That's not what she wants one way or another. She wants the Senate to do what it is constitutionally obligated to do. She's taken this great risk of coming forward. She's a credible person. These are very serious allegations, and they should be treated seriously, and she should be treated respectfully during this process.
Give me a break. Sweet Pea, you are not going to be treated respectfully during this process because you're a liar. It's obvious to anybody that's got a thinking brain. You were afraid that you'd get destroyed. You're going to be destroyed. Everything that you've ever put out on the internet has been saved on the Wayback Machine. And to my shame, I'm not real proficient at using the Wayback Machine, but I know that within a day or two, there are going to be proofs of her left-wing activism and all this other stuff that's going to come out. And as long as we're talking about activism, let's talk about her lawyer, Miss Deborah Katz. And one of the guys that I follow on Twitter is called Rising Serpent. That's what his Twitter handle is. And he's got it all laid out for us. Let's just take a real quick look at what he's got to say. When Christine Blasey Ford refused to appear at the hearing on Monday, my first thought was, of course she wouldn't. They're just stalling the confirmation. My second thought was, who in the hell was a lawyer and what advice was they giving her? The official story was that Ford was extremely reticent to tell her story, but she thought it was her duty to come forward on the record after the advice of Washington lawyer Deborah Katz. Katz is a regular David Bowie in female form, but you probably already guessed this. Katz has donated at least $26,000 to Democratic politicians, including Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and John Kerry. She also donated to groups such as MoveOn.org, DNC Services Corporation, and the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. In March 2017, Katz declared via Facebook that these people are all miscreants. The term basket of deplorables is far too generous a description for these people who are now senior Trump advisors. How about that? I think she and Uncle Joe have a few things in common. I think they're competing for the title of who can rename the deplorables. Is it going to be miscreants or dregs of society? Which is it going to be? Maybe we should have a poll or a contest and find out which one we're going to adopt next. In defending Democratic Senator Al Franken, Katz said, context is relevant. He did not do this as a member of the United States Senate. He did this in his capacity of someone who was still functioning as an entertainer. Well, I guess that's an excuse for grabbing a woman's breasts. According to Katz, it is. Kavanaugh was in high school. He denies any of these allegations. Franken accepted his egregious behavior, but liberals are clean-hearted even when filthy and depraved, at least according to those who defend them. Rewinding further to Paula Jones' allegation against Bill Clinton, Deborah Katz waxed eloquently in defending Bubba Clinton. Mind you that this is the same lawyer who is now claiming that Ford suffered attempted rape. What she says about Bill and Paula is mind-blowing. And he quotes, "If a woman came to me with a similar fact pattern, that is, someone in the company above her propositioned her, but only once, and she suffered no tangible job detriment, I would probably tell her that I'm sorry, it's unfair, but you don't have a case." Let me repeat. She says Ford suffered attempted rape. Katz said about Paula Jones, if it's one time, it has to be severe. Almost a sexual assault. not a touching of someone's breasts or buttocks, or even forceful kissing. Can you believe this woman? In 1998 on CBS, she said that Jones' allegation would not hold up in court. Clearly, a one-time incident took place in 10 to 12 minutes. She was not forced to have sex, left on her own volition. The courts are finding that is not enough to create a sexually hostile work environment. Rising Serpent calls her a shape-shifting orc that appears to change her opinion diametrically in the opposite direction when dealing with people that they dislike. So adult Al Franken and Bill Clinton were less sexual predators than a high school kid. Chew on that one. Obama appointed Elaine D. Kaplan to become a judge on the United States Court of Federal Claims. Prior to joining the Obama administration, Kaplan worked from 2003 to 2004 as an attorney for the D.C. law firm Bernabe and Katz. Yes, that Deborah Katz. You got to sit down for this one. Memorandum to Hillary Clinton, Monday, November 30th, 2015. You last saw Debbie, speaking of Deborah Katz, on September 19th, 2015 at the Hillary for America Finance event hosted by Frank and Sylvia White in Washington, D.C. Debbie has raised more than $29,000 for your campaign. And here it is right here. $29,000 she raised for Hillary Clinton. So this woman is a veteran of the resistance, probably a founding member if you want to really think about it. She's also the vice chair on the Project on Government Oversight, an organization that's directly funded by George Soros' Open Society Foundation. Demand Justice is a political advocacy group that vowed to put $5 million behind an effort to stop Judge Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation to the U.S. Supreme Court and has significant ties to the liberal financier George Soros. Folks, I wonder how many of those dollars ended up in Christine Blasey Ford's pocket. You know, she started a GoFundMe for $50,000 to provide herself with security against all the death threats that she's been getting. I'm willing to bet $100 to any taker that all of those threats came from liberals pretending to be conservatives. This is a common tactic that they use when they get on the internet and go to forums to try to shut those forums down. They were successful just recently when Reddit deleted the forum Great Awakening, which was a Q-related forum. They were coming on there and making threats and doxing people, and these are not Q-type people. All the Q-type people that I've seen just want the truth to come out. They're not violent, and they don't threaten violence or anything like that. And they were successful in getting the Great Awakening forum shut down. Well, let's continue on. Rising Serpent's great. To recap, there's a concerted effort to stymie Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation to the Supreme Court. The lawyer representing Christine Blasey Ford has ties to Hillary Clinton, her campaign, and George Soros. Clinton actually met with Deborah Katz. Christine Blasey Ford may or may not be telling the truth. She should get a chance to be heard, but I suspect she's being used unwittingly as a political pawn in a carefully crafted strategy to score political points. Thus, Ford is a victim in at least some circumstance. No matter how this ends for Kavanaugh, I think it ends well, Rising Serpent says, and I happen to agree with him. Unfortunately, it won't end well for Ford. Democrats will now come up with interminable excuses to prevent Ford from testifying. Their quest for political mileage will get them the fuel economy of a Hummer on blocks. And they are most definitely trying to do everything that they can to prevent this woman from testifying, like throwing up this, the FBI must investigate the crime before she'll testify in court. But the FBI is not going to investigate this because they say that, number one, it's not a federal matter. And even if it was, the statute of limitations has long since expired, so it cannot be investigated as a criminal matter. So let's go check out my bud Peter Ducey over here on Fox News. Fox will not launch criminal investigation into Kavanaugh allegations. See what he's got
Republicans who want to hear her out say they gave her a week's notice, and if she does not show up, then it's time just to move on. Senator Bob Corker, a Republican who had been calling for a hearing, now says this. After learning of the allegations, Chairman Chuck Grassley took immediate action to ensure both Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh have the opportunity to be heard, in public or private. Republicans extended a hand in good faith. If we don't hear from both sides on Monday, let's vote. Senator Grassley, the point person on this hearing as the Judiciary Committee chair, says that he did offer Dr. Ford a public hearing or a private hearing or the opportunity to come in to be interviewed by congressional staff.
This whole idea of having a hearing was to accommodate her request to tell her story in a hopefully a dignified and civil sort of setting. And if she decides not to show up, that's entirely her choice.
And Senator Lindsey Graham just said a couple minutes ago that he thinks Democrats are just trying to delay this after the midterms, so it's time to take a committee vote on Kavanaugh ASAP. Sandra.
Peter, are Democrats satisfied with that timing?
No, they think all of this is happening way too fast.
And from everything I can tell, they arbitrarily made a decision that it would be Monday. From everything I can tell, based on just the press conferences they've been having, they didn't give her any notice, they didn't coordinate with her, and they just declared that she should come on Monday. It's just more of the same.
But so far, we haven't heard from any Democrats on the Judiciary Committee who say they'd actually boycott a hearing on Monday. Their problems are mostly just with the process, but it's actually with the gender breakdown.
I expect the men in this country and the men in this committee, and many of them, believe me, because we all signed on to this letter to demand an FBI investigation, but really, guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country, and I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up.
I would like to point out something very funny. I don't have it pulled up at the moment, but after that woman made that statement, that senator right there, actor James Woods got on Twitter, as he is wont to do, and he told her to go F herself. That there are men buried all over the world that have stood up and fought for freedom, and these people have no claim on that honor. Kristen Gillibrand, another libtard senator, was basically on the same page. Take a look at what she's got to say.
I believe her. I believe what she said. It rings true to me. How she's divulged it, who she's divulged it to over time, over many years. That's exactly what happens when someone has this kind of trauma. And so it rings true. And so we need a proper, professional, appropriate review and hearing. And what they are forcing on her right now, I think, is inappropriate.
Except it's not going to happen. Trump is going to be your president. Trump is still your president. The FBI is not going to investigate. And let me tell you something, folks. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you want to go back 35 years to investigate allegations of sexual misconduct, why don't we start with Bill Clinton? That's what Juanita Broderick, one of his rape victims, an actual rape victim, that's what she wants to do. Juanita says, if you want the FBI to go back that far, Hillary Clinton, and at MSNBC, to investigate Ford's allegations, let's investigate my rape allegations against Bill Clinton, too. It seems only fair. She was commenting on Christine Blasey Ford's allegation that Brett Kavanaugh assaulted her at a beer party some 36 years ago, and that the FBI must investigate the matter now before she will testify about the supposed incident. Juanita Broderick tweeted that if the FBI goes back that far, then it must also investigate my rape allegations against Bill Clinton, too.
Juanita Broaddrick is a retired nursing home administrator who has long maintained that Bill Clinton, when he was the Arkansas Attorney General, raped her. A forcible, brutal rape, in quotes, in a hotel room in Little Rock, Arkansas on April 25th, 1978. At the time, Broaddrick was 35 and Bill Clinton was 31. Juanita Broaddrick doesn't seem to have any problem remembering where the rape took place, what year it took place. She named the hotel room and the date. April 25th, 1978. She doesn't have any problem with naming her rapist or with remembering facts. This is all just a big smear campaign in order to delay the confirmation until after the midterms. They're playing for time. That's all they're doing, and they're failing. Because Senator Grassley said today that the confirmation vote will be carried out if Ford doesn't appear before the Senate Judicial Committee on Monday. And I hope that it does. Just one more slap in the face to people that really need a slap in the face. They need to be doused with cold water. Maybe there should be a cold water bucket challenge or something like that. Take a cold bucket of cold water filled with facts to all your liberal friends and throw it on them and say, wake up! I mean, come on, these people are absolutely out of their gourds. But, you know, the Bible does say that there is no hidden thing that will not be revealed. And I firmly believe that. And we need your help to get this truth out to the people that haven't seen it yet. Because they're not going to get all this information on the mainstream media. They're not going to get this type of analysis on the mainstream media. Even Fox lies sometimes. I've shown that too. But since my mission is to save lives and win souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days, lying has no part in it. I don't need to lie. Christ has all the truth that I need to live my life. And I'd like to introduce that truth to others. So if you'd help me, like, comment, and share all of our videos here on Liberty One, and do what you can to spread the word. Don't just put it on your own timeline. Put the shows in every forum that you go to on the internet. Put it in all your Facebook groups. Okay, we depend on you to get this information out there. And while we're talking about what we need for you to do, tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, right here on Liberty One, we're going to have a little conference call with all the Liberty One hosts, and you're invited to join in, because we're starting a campaign called Stop Voter Fraud 2018. You can find this campaign at stopvoterfraud2018.com. And it's going to take you to Spreely, where we've got some special groups and other things, tools that will help you get the word out. This is a top priority for the White House, to stop voter fraud before the midterms. And you can help. And tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, Thursday night at 10 o'clock, that's the 20th September, we're going to show you what you can do. We'll give you action points, talking points, and help you, give you the tools to take this truth out to those that desperately need to see it. We cannot let the Democrats win at the midterms, because if they do, we're going to hear nothing but impeachment, 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 ad nauseum, until we're all so sick that we just want to throw up all over our shoes. So make sure you go to stopvoterfraud2018.com, and that will take you directly to the Spreely pages that we've set up, so that you can join us in this fight. And don't forget, if you have the ability, please go to bobpowell.blogspot.com and hit that PayPal button, because this does take money. And other than Silver Bullet Gun Oil, I don't have any sponsors yet. And I really need your help to literally keep the lights on. So whatever you got that you can share with me, $5, $10, $20, even $1. or $100. Whatever is not going to put you out. But listen to me very carefully. If you are on Social Security or disability or something like that, I do not want your money. Trust me, I know what it's like to live on a fixed income. Okay, so you hold on to your money, but I want you to make sure that you act as our foot soldiers out there and share the truth. Share it with everybody that you know. Send it to your friends. Put it in emails. Send it to everybody that you know on Facebook or on Google Plus or Gab AI or Twitter. That's your job. Like, comment, and share. That's all that we can ask from you folks. Our Father in heaven will send those who have the ability to donate monetarily my way. And he has never failed me yet. He always seems to wait till the last minute, though. I don't get it. I pray and pray and pray. And it seems like all hope is lost. But then just like in the old cowboy movies, the cavalry comes running over the hill at the very last minute. And things get taken care of. So if you want to be an angel sponsor, then please go to bobpowell.blogspot.com, hit that PayPal button, or you can hit the paypal.me link that's in the video description below this video. And you will contribute greatly to our mission of saving lives and winning souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching The Truth is Viral. It's Wednesday night right here on the Liberty One Network. I will be back with you Friday night. Remember, it's Red Friday, so wear a red t-shirt to remember everyone deployed. Remember our brave soldiers and sailors, airmen, and Marines that are deployed on foreign shores in harm's way. That's what we do each and every Friday right here on The Truth is Viral on the Liberty One Network. We wear a red shirt, and you should too. Thank you for watching, folks. My name is Bob Powell. And as always, God bless, Semper Fi, and hoorah. I want you to have a really nice day. And I am out of here. Good night.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook. And if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.